Hello.
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 And welcome to the 16th episode of the Weekend Superheroes
16.
Podcast. This is number 16.
16.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Today is March 20th. I'm Sean. Sitting with me always is Darius, Pat, and Steve. How are you guys, by the way?
Hello. Doing really good.
Wow.
That's a new intro
I
for
didn't think
me.
you'd break into a number like that.
Hey, boo boo. It was really great.
So, any memories since our last episode of alien abduction?
No, I drank all those away.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did wake up one night and have this weird pain.
Before we do this, Steve, what happened last episode? Who did we talk to?
We talked to a mother of hybrid alien babies who has also been abducted by aliens multiple times.
How many babies did she have?
Lots.
I think she had 10.
10?
10.
That's a lot.
That
Yeah.
counts as lots.
Knocking the boots.
Somebody's
them alien
knocking the
boots.
boots.
Knocking them space boots.
She was awesome. And if you guys want to
Yeah,
check out that
super cool.
episode, go to the last
Bridget
one.
Nielsen.
Bridget Nielsen, very good. So today,
Not the one from Rocky. The other Bridget Nielsen.
Rocky 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but today we are actually talking about gender identity disorder, also known as gender dysmorphia. This is a distress a person can experience when the sex assigned to them at birth does not match the person's gender identity. So we're going to start today by clearing some things up right out the gate.
my acne.
Anything that starts with trans. And no one, they hear that trans, and nobody
Trans-Pacific
understands.
Partnership?
Like transatlantic, transocean.
fat.
Oh, trans fats are the worst.
His name's Pat, actually. That's his name.
It's my bloodstream that's trans fat.
So, number one, transvestites. Those are the people that get pleasure from dressing up as the opposite sex. Typically men.
You?
These are the drag queens or the cross dressers. We have the transgenders. Those are the people who identify themselves as a gender that does not correspond with the sex that was assigned to them at birth. Right?
Who assigns them
Yeah,
a
who
sex
does
appeal?
assign them? Like,
Is there a guy that like stamps them on the forehead or?
Yeah.
Jesus?
Is it like
Wow.
is it like you're walking in line like, well, you're up next to be born. You are a man.
Pick a ticket.
Oh,
Pick a ticket.
we
ticket.
screwed up. We actually made that one a
You
female.
went to the wrong queue line.
Okay, so these are the ones that have made the leap to decide that being the gender that they are now was not the one that they were assigned at birth. Now, these are the guys and the girls fighting for the bathrooms that we've talked about before. We'll get to that in a second. Transsexuals. These are people who actually took the permanent step to transition from one sex to another. These are the next level men and women. So these are the folks that use hormones and surgical procedures to change into the gender they most identify with. Let's finish it off. Transcendence is exceeding or surpassing degree or excellence. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra is an American progressive rock band
Transformers.
specializing in... And Transformers are robots in disguise.
Yes. They are also more than meets the eye.
Here's
True that.
So here's a fun fact, guys. The average cost for a male to female surgery is about $17,000.
Wow.
Nope.
And what about the other way?
In addition, we'll get to. In addition,
I feel like because it's a woman trying to become a man, it's going to cost more.
right, you got to find a donor, I guess.
The
right?
inequality gap.
So in
Yeah.
addition to that cost,
about 70%.
Yeah. Right.
you have about $1,000 for therapy, $1,500 for hormones, and $500 for doctor's visits and lab tests. The cost to transition is probably roughly $20,000 over a 2-year transition period.
Buy one ball, get one free.
So
I get my balls at Costco.
you can get like 75 of them for like a
Yeah, then
$100
you
or
get-
something.
98,
Yeah.
And then you get elephantitis because they're the size of a fucking grapefruit.
Right.
And you broke Darius.
Oh,
You
God,
proud of
Darius.
yourself, Steve?
I'm
happy. It's
Darius
usually
is dead. Oh, my God.
His face is almost as red as his shirt. You happy with this? All right, guys. I want to talk.
Ecstatic.
I want to talk the bathroom thing. I know we talked about it before. I think we cut it out of the podcast, but we try to avoid politics on the show, so let's just try to keep it personal right now.
It's funny because we may have talked about it, but I might have had more than one beverage at that time and not remembered it at all.
I'm sorry, and you guys are?
That's fine. Steve, we'll start with you then. Should everyone be allowed to use any bathroom, whether or not it is assigned to the gender they had at birth?
Here's my thing. The people that are afraid of somebody going into the bathroom, they're like, oh, they're going to go in and touch my daughter, but you're okay with somebody going in and touching your son then?
Why do they all have that voice?
That's just they all. I feel no, like
Because that's how they sound.
everybody that like just everyone that talks like that is like, ooh, like
So you are okay.
I mean, how many years has it gone on that we don't know about it? You know, people probably have been using different bathrooms and we
Fine.
have
So
no clue.
now we're bringing it to light. Are you okay with someone, let's say a male, rolling into a female's bathroom with your daughter there?
Or a male or a...
Also, you should probably think about having a daughter before we even have this conversation.
Yeah, but I should probably get a girlfriend before I even.
Baby,
I can speak from experience. You don't even need a girlfriend to have a kid.
So, Darius, I have a question for you. You're in your bathroom, male's bathroom, and all of a sudden a female walks in and hits the stall next to you. Are you going to be okay with it?
He tries to get her number. He's like, "Hey, babe, you want to play Battleship?"
What establishment are we out here in this scenario?
Fuck does it matter? How about
McDonald's.
Sheets? Yeah, what does it matter? So you are in a bathroom of your choice because it's the male's bathroom, and last time I checked, you have a penis. And
Wait,
then-
you checked?
Oh, you should see it. It's amazing.
Oh, he is black. I get it.
You can
How do
see
you
it
not
from
see it?
space. So someone comes in, different sex, sits next to you. How do you feel?
Well, if they're taking a shit, I would hope that I don't see their
Yeah,
face.
how-
but
how
I'm
would you-
at the
how would you
stall
even
standing
know?
next to them.
Because the high heels that Darius is wearing.
I mean, if you got legs like that, you show them off. Just saying.
Oh, you broke Sean. I honestly would feel bad for the other person if I was in there taking a shit and they came in.
Yeah, to be
I'd be like,
honest.
look, you don't.
I've shat next
This
to
is
Steve.
not where you
it's
wanna
not
be.
a good place
yeah,
to
this
be.
is not where you want to be
Listen.
right now.
I mean, like, if it was a choice between shitting next to Steve and Hiroshima, I'd have to think about it.
jeez, wow.
Too far?
So what I don't get is why any woman would want to come into the men's bathroom.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever been in a men's bathroom,
They're gross.
It's a night.
The only reason I'd be taking a shit at Sheets, first of all, is because I couldn't make
Because
it
you had
home.
sheets.
Emergency. Yeah, because you just ate.
Because you recently ate a salad and your body's not used to that.
It's pronounced salad, I'm pretty sure.
In the news.
All right, so here's the story. In February of
Wishbone.
this year, a 17-year-old transgendered, this is female to male. His name is Mac Beggs.
So he went from being a female.
He was a
to
female,
male.
went to male.
Okay.
Mac Beggs took home the gold in girls wrestling title
Oh, in Texas?
in Texas.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
heard about
fair?
So can I chime in on this one?
Go for
Because
it.
I've actually
Yeah.
read this article. So it turns out that
Steroids.
no, he wanted to wrestle males and was not allowed to because the state law says that you have to wrestle at or compete at the gender you were born with.
Based
So-
on
Different
it was a she
type.
went to a male,
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I want to wrestle with the males." They said, "No, you wrestle with the gender that is on your
That's
birth
not
certificate."
fair.
He was
Yeah.
a female, so he had to wrestle with all the females. Won, and all of a sudden,
And
he
actually,
gets booed
and won by a lot of
screams
forfeits
and-
because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
girls
Yeah.
didn't want to wrestle.
No, I don't think that's
him
fair at
and-
all.
D-Man, chime
It's
in
not
here.
fair
What are your
to-
thoughts here,
it's not
buddy?
fair to anyone, really.
No.
I mean,
That's the state's problem. They blew it.
competition-wise, yeah. I mean, it's why was it a state law? First of all, like, why is the state getting involved with like the competitions?
High school wrestling.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess maybe it's different.
States getting
in-
involved with everything, with the
most of
bathrooms
these,
and everything
most
else.
of
I
these
mean,
laws are actually governed by
transgendered
states.
laws
Yeah.
are all governed by states, including
Yeah.
the
I
bathrooms.
mean, I guess they go down to the the bathroom, but like sports, though, that's just I didn't even think it went down to that level like that.
my
Oh, that's all
gosh.
governed by states. Yeah,
So, what I'm most afraid of is that
spiders.
it's not. It's not just this. People talk about trans age. So
What?
some
You know what? I've always felt like I was 17.
you laugh, but
I do.
there is a man who is trans age who believes in his mind that he is 13 years old. So he dials back to being 13. He just wants to play video games and not
Does
go to
he-
work and
Well,
things that
did he ever
I
see
think
the
that
movie
too.
Jack?
Hold on.
Well, I also think that. I don't do it because I'm an adult.
because there we go. Well, he doesn't believe he's an adult. He actually believes he's 13.
But here's the thing.
Does he still have AOL?
Does he also think he's a dog?
He's, you
Different
know,
podcast.
you know in your mind how long you've been on the earth. Like you could recount all the years you've been here, and like there's no way that he could possibly be like, "Yep,
Yeah,
I am 13, but I've been here for 30 years."
But you can also recount the fact that you've been a man for this many years and change that. So why can't you change your age? Why can't you change anything else? Why can't you be a brunette and say, "Hey, I am trans hair color"?
I could be a blonde if I wanted to.
You were a blonde girl in Germany, according to Dr. Leslie Phillips.
And you know what's funny?
Check out that episode.
What's funny is whenever I was a young lad back in the day,
Yeah.
because I would be outside so much in the sun, my
'Cause he's
hair
trans age.
bleach blonde.
You see?
Yeah, and now straight up dark.
What have you learned?
You don't go
To hate
outside as
blonde
much.
people.
Yeah. To hate people.
He's an anti-Nazi.
All right,
Yeah.
so check this one. Dr. Paul R. McHugh.
Well, if he's a doctor, he has to know what he's talking about.
Right, the former psychiatrist in chief for Johns Hopkins Hospital. Pretty good, right?
Oh, definitely knows what he's talking about.
And its current distinguished service professor of psychiatry said that transgenderism is a mental disorder.
Did studies show that?
This is his study.
Not since 2011.
This marriage treatment, the sex change is quote unquote biologically impossible. And people who promote sexual reassignment surgery are collaborating with and promoting nothing more than a mental disorder.
It could be. I mean, there's a lot of shit that we don't understand about our brains and how that shit works.
I don't know. I just feel it's a different generation out there, and if they want to do what they want to do, then it is what it is. Like, there's no, you can't push them back.
Well, see, that's my theory. I mean, you do what makes you happy. You're on this earth for so long.
Exactly, yeah.
You do, if you're miserable, make a change. Do what you got to do.
I feel like the world would be a better place if everyone was a little bit happier.
If everyone
Hell yeah.
was a weekend superhero. Well, the truth is, I think I've had enough of our opinions. How about we talk to someone who's actually been through this? On Skype with us now is one brave and fascinating person. She was born a man and even lived the first 22 years of her life as a man. Her male-to-female sexual assignment surgery took place in early 2013, and she has since welcomed the internet into her life via her YouTube channel, where she shares her intimate stories and life before and after her transition. Please help me to give this woman a superhero's welcome, Autumn Asphodel. Autumn, how are you tonight?
Shout out.
I'm doing great. How about you? Thank you for having me on.
Oh, man, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
This
thanks
is so
for joining.
cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
This is so cool. Autumn, I'm going to jump right into it if that's cool.
Sure.
We only have a limited time, so I'm just going to jump in. So I can't imagine how difficult it must have been to go through an already awkward early stages of life, puberty, things like that, and to believe that you are not who you're supposed to be. Tell us what it was like being a prisoner and of your own body.
Yes, it certainly was very difficult because at such an early age, I always felt different in some way, and from that very early age, I truly felt as though I was supposed to be a female, that I was supposed to live as a girl growing up instead of how I was as a boy. And that really started to impact my life around the time that I hit puberty, because that was when I was going through all these male changes that I simply did not want. Every single thing, it was just something that I disliked greatly, which made me really despise who I was and how I looked and how I behaved and just everything. So I had a very difficult time. That was the worst part of my life, going through that puberty and that male puberty.
I can imagine. So like, so as you went through each change, like, did it just get progressively worse with each change? Like reaffirming your belief that that wasn't what you were supposed to be?
Absolutely, yeah. Because when I initially started going through puberty, I was just dreading all these changes that I was going through, and just some of the changes that I had not even experienced yet. I did not want to have that. I would just always envision, like, what would it be like if I went through a female puberty instead and lived life as a female? Would things have been different at that time? And I would have been a lot happier, but that's not how it was, unfortunately.
So at the moment you went from like I want to be a woman to like I'm gonna be a woman. Tell us about that, like when that happened and how you felt like about it.
Well, the interesting thing is that I had those intense feelings. They started around puberty, maybe a little younger, and then around the time that I graduated from high school, which was a little bit after I turned 18, I began to focus on my own things, and those feelings that I had of wanting to be a woman essentially diminished. I did not feel the need to do that anymore, and the thoughts of wanting to be a female were like I just didn't have that desire anymore, and that was very strange. And I think it was because I was focusing on some of these tasks that I had formed for myself to be able to accomplish some of these big goals that I had set that were unrelated to transition. However, probably 2 years after that, when I hit 20, is when all of that started coming back again. And then that was the point that I felt as though I was old enough to be able to read up much more on it, get some more information on it. And that was when the internet started to become more available for me versus when I was younger.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, the internet's a great source, but so I kind of have a personal question. I mean, can we talk about your transition for a minute? I mean, to me,
Absolutely.
the pre-op just sounds like a real mind fuck kind of bitch.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
you know, when did you start taking hormones, and what was the first effect that you kind of felt or saw in yourself?
I think it was like towards the end of 2011 that I started taking hormones. And it started off with just a testosterone blocker. And that really didn't do anything initially. It was when I started taking the estrogen that I did start to notice some changes. And probably the first change that I noticed was some very subtle breast growth. It was very quick. Like within a week's time after I started taking the estrogens is when there started to be some tenderness, and they started to grow a little bit.
I know exactly how I feel. I eat sheets like 3 times a week. My breasts grow like crazy. It's ridiculous.
And kids are always tender.
I'm sorry. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but how did you get these pills? I mean, you can't just walk down to CVS and grab these, or pharmacy, or you talk to a doctor, you talk to your physician. How did this even start?
Yeah, it was a specialist actually. I looked up a transgender clinic essentially that was close to me, and it wasn't very far away, and they primarily deal with transgender patients and their transition. So I went there after seeing a therapist for probably a good 2 years or
Oh, wow.
a year and a half prior to going to see them. And I spoke with them about how I felt and everything. And then all they needed was a letter from my therapist. And from there, they prescribed me the estrogens, and I had been taking them ever since, essentially.
Do you still have to take them?
Yes, I will have to take them for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Oh wow! I didn't know for the rest of your life,
Interesting.
really.
Yeah, because my body does not produce any hormone whatsoever.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
So yeah.
So, are you able to describe the details of the surgery, like nuts and bolts, so to speak, or is it, don't want to?
God, Jesus.
Do we want to?
Holy shit.
Nice choice of words, Darius.
We do want to know the dirty details. So tell us about the surgery.
Well, the surgery, that was such a huge thing. Like, I got it done in early 2013, and you can't really prepare for it because I had watched so many people online go through the surgery and even documenting every single day after surgery. But it doesn't prepare you for just how real it is and just how intense it is, because as the date came, I was just sitting there right before the surgery, and it seems like so surreal what's about to happen. And then the next thing you know, you're lying down after the surgery, and initially there wasn't so much pain, but after a few hours after I woke up from that initial wake up after surgery, then all this pain started to come in, and you can hardly move, and then when they actually have to get you up like the third day to be able to actually move, it is so difficult, because you have all this blood flow that is essentially going to one place, and you feel so lightheaded, you feel so it's just so difficult to walk, and it was excruciating to be able to go through that.
I can't even imagine. But so, you began your transition around 22, I think, and you've been, transitioned for about 4 years, from what I can tell.
Mhm.
What would you say was harder, the first 22 or the last 4?
Well, that is an interesting question, because they are both difficult for different reasons, because
Sure.
living the first 22 years of my life as someone I didn't feel as though I was, that was very difficult in a very, very negative way. It was just a constant downward spiral, and it was very, very bad times that I had. However, over the past 4 years, those were extremely difficult as well, but that was more of a positive thing, because going through the hard times and getting going one step closer to who I was. So both are difficult, but the last 4 years have been very rewarding.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I get it.
I mean, oh my goodness, it all seems so stressful, like the whole process. But I do got a question: did you get to keep the penis? Because
Wow. Because he could use one.
I just want to know. I got my tonsils out when I was 26, and I haven't seen one of those bad boys.
Oh, my cutaway was bad.
Holy
It
shit.
would have been interesting to keep it, but no.
Oh, boy.
All right, so this might be even a little hard to listen to, but you just seem so open. I feel like I'm comfortable enough after watching your videos just to ask you these questions. And if I'm going too far, tell me. But tell me about the post-op. The post-op, there's a dilation process, which
Yeah.
you said was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's essentially what you have to do is, because the incision inside of your body is technically created, it's your body thinks it is a wound and it wants to kind of
Wants to
close
heal.
up.
Of course. wants to heal.
Oh god! Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
God.
it wants to heal just like any other wound. But this is more
You gotta
than
keep it
just an
open.
incision, Autumn, correct? This is
Yeah.
a hole.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's,
to put it
it's
bluntly.
definitely a lot.
Yeah.
And with the first year, 6 months especially, ideally the first year with the dilation, it is very, very important to use the dilators multiple times a day, especially probably
Autumn,
like
Autumn, you
like
got to
for-
explain the dilators to our listeners. They got to know.
Okay. Well, the dilator is essentially it is like a hard plastic dildo, essentially. And it is not comfortable because of its texture. It is solid piece of plastic. So it's not fun. It's not exciting to
It's not there for
use
fun.
it.
It's there for a purpose.
But Autumn, you grew up as a man. Like you're saying dildo as if it were just second nature, but this is brand spanking new to you at this point, isn't it? How confusing was this for you?
Well, I was very dedicated to it because I knew that this was only a temporary thing multiple times a day initially.
And you
so-
had to be dedicated, or you were going to close up and look like a Ken doll,
Wow.
Yeah, that would not have been
right?
good.
You're right. You had to be dedicated. I mean, you committed your life to this, and so you
yeah.
had to make sure that every step of the way was right. So, sorry, continue with the dilation thing.
Yeah, initially you have to dilate multiple times a day, and I think very early on you need to do it for like a half hour to 45 minutes, if not maybe like an hour or so. I don't even remember how long I was doing it for, but there were multiple sizes, and you kind of you essentially start with the smallest size and you build up to the largest size. And I could never actually use the largest size because it was just way too difficult for my body. But
Wow,
after months and
that's
months
hurting me
of-
just hearing this.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not into this.
Oh yeah.
I'm not, ouch.
Yeah, it is certainly like now I do it maybe I dilate maybe twice a week for maybe about 45 minutes at the most.
Oh wow, you
And-
still have to do this.
So it's like the same
Yeah,
thing
you-
with the pills. It's like you still have to do this all the time.
Yeah. Well, the only way you wouldn't have to do it is if you were having sex
Okay.
with a male partner, but even then you may not necessarily be getting the right depth or
If they don't
the
have
right
the right
size.
girth.
So
Yeah, if it was me, I wouldn't be doing anything for you.
I've been
wouldn't,
waiting for the right depth for years. If you want to know the truth. So Autumn, I've been so interested in all your videos and the GBLT community. Yes, I say it like that on purpose because it sounds more delicious.
Does that have mayo?
You claim that the T shouldn't even really be a part of that because the other letters refer to sexual orientation, right? And gender identity is it's just
Right. Yeah.
it's on a very separate plane from
Yeah.
sexual orientation. Now, your sexual orientation has changed more than once throughout your life. Tell us where it started and where you think it is now.
Well, I had always been attracted to females. Even
as a
when I
male.
was
Even as a male.
Yes.
Okay.
And when I transitioned, that did not change. However, over the past year, I felt as though I was so much more comfortable with myself that I felt as though I could essentially fall in love with anyone. It doesn't matter if they're a male or a female. And
As long as they're good looking, right?
oh yeah.
There it is.
Hey.
There we go. There's the
Well,
honesty we're looking
that's
for.
one thing we can all agree on. Right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. It's I'm definitely much more open now. It's just it's not something that I am currently actively looking for.
You said you were pansexual.
Yeah, that is essentially what the term is. It's you can fall in love with anyone. It doesn't matter if they're male or female.
So your
or
door
whatever.
swings pretty much every which way at this point.
It even includes Darius.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No. Okay, so let me ask you something. Some doctors, psychiatrists, they say that transgenderism is a mental disorder, right? And they say these
Yeah.
people need treatment, not transitions. What's your reaction to that?
I definitely understand that theory. It was something that I definitely looked into, and I think a lot of trans people are very defensive in that statement, saying no, it absolutely is not. And I definitely see some truth regarding it being a mental disorder. I wouldn't say it is for every person who is trans. I because there are so many factors that go into this, but there are certainly a lot of trans people that I know who just hearing their hard life growing up and hearing how they kind of grew up and they kind of essentially wanted to dissociate from this birth sex that they grew up as, that was traumatized, much like myself, then I think that is a cause for concern. But I also say it's like, regardless of it being a mental disorder or not, however the person is feeling is a very real thing. And if they can, if they are much happier to transition, then by all means, then I think that they should be allowed to be able to do that.
Autumn, I got to jump in here. I feel like I don't know. This might be a horrible thing
He
to say.
doesn't know how he feels.
No, I do not. I feel like these stories, and since I've heard your story, I've listened to so many others, and I feel like there is a pattern, and it's not a good one.
Right.
You mentioned yourself that you are a victim of abuse. Your father wasn't around. You mentioned that your mother wasn't that great to you. This is not unusual if you find out these patterns. So my question is, at what point do you think it is a conscious decision, or maybe just the only choice that these people think they have to maybe fit into society?
I think it is like when you've gone through all that past trauma and abuse, it's, you want to get rid of it in some way. You want to essentially overcome it, but you can't necessarily address it. Like for me personally, I couldn't address any of the stuff that had happened in the past until I was happy with myself, and that was after I transitioned. And I think for a lot of people, they look at all the past issues that they've had and they want to be someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's fair. So kind of on a related note, you have kind of put your life on YouTube, and
Yes.
I'm a computer guy, and so I know that the internet is kind of a dick, to be honest. How do you deal with bullying? Like, what advice would you give to others that are struggling with their identity?
Well, initially the bullying really, really got to me. And it was only until I became confident enough with myself to just simply dismiss it. And the best advice I have for someone dealing with a bully, especially online, is a lot of times they want a reaction out of someone. So by people saying all this negative stuff to me, they essentially want me to react in some way to all that negativity that they're saying.
Sure, I mean that's
And
what bullies
in
do.
addition to that, you can recognize that the person who's saying all this negative, hateful crap is essentially coming from a bad place themselves. Because someone who is truly happy with themselves doesn't need to go around saying all this hateful garbage to someone else.
Right, but
Yeah.
how many times did it come from someone you actually loved or trusted?
How many times was I bullied from someone who
Right, yeah.
was close to me?
Right?
I would say probably the only times where these friends that I had in high school who would play all these games of me and just do all these things, and it's essentially all those people really friends if they're going to do those mean things to me.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, fuck those people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
In fact, if you have their addresses, just give them to us. We'll just kick their ass.
Okay.
or in my case, I'd pay someone to because I'm not very strong.
I'm just gonna, I'll hire somebody. Somebody will kick their asses. So we have one more question. Do you have any regrets, or do you think you would do anything differently? Like if you could turn back the clock on any of that?
I definitely I definitely have a theory in life that you shouldn't regret any decisions that you've made, because whatever decision you've made in the past it's something that is done and over with, and all you can do is learn from it. And for me, I have definitely changed so much that there really is no going back, so I can't regret that, and I don't regret that. I definitely don't wish that I have some of the problems that I have now as a result of the surgery and the transition and this and that. But I don't regret any of it because I am happy as who I am, and I can make do with things that I'm happy about.
Yeah, and that's all that matters is that you're happy, right?
Man, Autumn, that was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Well, you couldn't have ended that any better.
Yeah,
That was.
sorry you had to go through all that, but glad you're happy now.
I know, and thank you
Yeah.
for coming and hanging out with us. This was the coolest thing ever, Autumn. You were so great with us,
Shit, yeah.
and so open and honest. You're an amazing person, and I hope you continue to be you and do what you do forever. You got about 5 more minutes with us. We usually play a game at the end of this, and you're going to play along with us. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. We're going to play Autumn versus us, the superheroes. All right? We're going to start with Darius. Darius,
I always suck at these.
fact or fucked? According to an analysis based on new federal and state data, 0.6% or 1.4 million adults living in the United States identify as transgendered.
I'm gonna go with fucked.
Fucked. Autumn?
I'm gonna say the same.
It's fact. It's fact. You guys are terrible.
Oh, it is?
This was
That makes-
2016.
Oh, I knew it.
2016.
I feel like it would have been higher than that.
Higher. It actually doubled since last year. It was 0.3, now it's 0.6.
How many was it?
It was 0.6.
Which is 1.4 million.
1.4 million adults, not just people, adults. That's just 18 or above.
Wow.
Well, I don't want to say you're doing poorly, Autumn, but you're not doing great so far.
No.
All right, let's see if you can beat Pat. Pat, before the filming of the 2004 movie White Chicks, both Sean and Marlon Wayans were taking vitamins enhanced with estrogen to ensure they could pull off a higher-pitched, more female voice.
I'm going to say fuck because they're both wonderful actors.
Fucked. Autumn, what do you think?
I'm gonna agree with that.
That's
I don't
fucked.
think
Well
it's true.
done. Well
Yeah.
done. You won that one.
That
There's
sounded,
one.
And God
that
bless
sounded
the
way
Wayans.
too fucked for me.
Steve.
1-1.
Hey,
The Transformers
Yeah.
Generation 2 comic
Generation 2?
introduced the concept of quote-unquote budding, in which Transformers can give birth asexually by allowing the mixture of liquid metals and energy to burst from their chest what will form eventually to become a new Transformer. Fact or fucked?
I'm going to say fucked.
Fucked?
Yeah.
Autumn?
That sounds very bizarre and weird. I'm gonna say
Think
I'm gonna-
about it.
I'm gonna I'm gonna guess fact.
It is fact,
has to
Autumn.
be
Well
a-
done.
Oh, come on, Steve. There's no way he could
Wow.
have made up
Damn it.
all of those words on his own.
Pat only has
He
a
makes
foot.
shit up all the time.
Right. That's the game.
So
3 more, Autumn. We'll let you go. By the way, Darius,
Okay.
did you get that first one?
No, he missed it.
I did
Oh,
not.
well,
so
that's you. That's so unordinary. Usually,
That's
Darius
so
is so
Darius.
good
He's
at this.
pretty much 0 for 2017.
I'm gonna go for the
no,
rebound.
he got
here.
both last time.
All right, time for the rebound. Darius, you go first. Each time, Robin Williams transformed into an older
you, man.
British woman, British as you
Older,
call
older
it.
British.
In the 1993 family comedy Mrs. Doubtfire, it took 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fact.
Fact. Autumn?
I have no idea. I'm gonna guess fact as well.
That is a fact. Well done to both of you. Good
Yeah.
job.
See, the only
Wow.
reason I would have said fucked is the time on the makeup, but because 4.5 hours
But
seems
that was
seems
this
low.
was this
doesn't
was
it?
the 90s.
Yeah,
That's when they
it
first-
seems low.
4.5
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, it seems
It's
4.5
on-
hours seems low.
That's
for
from
that.
Well,
IMDb.com.
in the movie, he did it at the restaurant in about
Oh, yeah,
30
he did 30
seconds.
seconds. He was-
Yeah.
But they
Boom.
sped it up, right? Pat, female spotted hyenas have genitalia similar to a male, with their clitoris shaped and positioned just like a penis, and it is capable of erection. Fact or fuck?
Well, it depends. Did someone say Mufasa?
You've got two options.
Easy.
I'm going to say
Too
fact.
soon.
Fact. Autumn?
I'm gonna say fucked.
That is a fact, Autumn. I'm sorry.
I love me some hyenas.
Wow, Pat, what are you
That's
killing
bizarre.
it tonight, huh?
That is bizarre,
The
isn't it?
Mufasa thing was a little bit low.
What could be bizarre about that,
It's
really?
been like 24 years.
It's
Steve. Get
still
over
fresh.
it.
Still fresh.
Last one, Autumn, hang out with us for one more second, and you are against Steve. Steve, in the 1991 novel made thriller movie Silence of the Lambs, the primary antagonist, Buffalo Bill's real name was actually James Gum, because his alcoholic prostitute mother misspelled his name James on his own birth certificate.
I'll say fact.
Fact, Autumn?
I'm gonna say fucked.
That
Fucked.
is a fact, everybody.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is a
Oh,
Unfuck me.
3 in a row. Look at that.
Goodbye, horses. Autumn, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. I hope you had some fun. I can't wait
Yeah.
for you to get your story out
Autumn,
there.
you were awesome.
Pittsburgh's
Yeah, you're
going to
fun.
get
Good
to know
times.
you and get to fall in love with you like we did over the past week here, just learning about your life and everything about you. Autumn, where can we find out more about you? Give us some shameless plugs here.
Well, you can find more of me on YouTube, Autumn Asphodel. And you can also visit my website, autumnasphodel.com, where I have all my videos in a very organized manner. And those are the primary two places you can find me. So
Sweet.
thank you very much for having me on.
Very cool.
Thanks for coming
Check
on.
her out on
Thanks for
Facebook. Are you on Twitter as well? I thought I saw you on Twitter.
No, I am on Facebook as
You
well.
are on
Autumn,
Facebook, okay.
Autumn Asphodel, yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
it.
If you want to find out more about the Weekend Superheroes, you can find us on weekendsuperheroes.com. You can find us on Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can check us out
Twitter.
on
At twitter.com.
Facebook.
WKND Superheroes.
Twitter is
And-
yeah.
and Twitter. Facebook and Twitter, guys. Search us out. Pat, you want to say goodbye?
You just skipped areas.
Wow, I
That's
just got
messed up.
skipped.
Yeah, and just because it happened. Good night, ladies.
Darius, would you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Have a good weekend.
Steve, say goodbye.
I don't want to say goodbye. I want to say goodbye to him.
He gets very sad. Autumn, tell everyone that loves you goodbye.
To everyone who loves me, goodbye.
Oh, that was perfect.
And always remember to podcast responsibly.